So hello students, today let's discuss one challenging question which many students will not be able to solve it properly. So it's interesting and challenging at the same time. So let us solve this question. This question is from dihybrid test cross. So this dihybrid test cross, what it says that in a dihybrid test cross involving two genes A and B, and the ratio for dihybrid test cross is 40:40:10:10. This is the ratio. What is the distance between the gene A and B? Now this ratio you will think is very unique, right? Usually dihybrid test cross has a ratio of 1:1:1:1, right? So let's just quickly go through this dihybrid test cross and then we will come back to this question. So let's take few seconds to understand dihybrid test cross. So here if we see dihybrid test cross, so you will say that the dihybrid test cross has a ratio of 1:1:1:1, right? This is known dihybrid test cross, and monohybrid test cross of course is 1:1. That we will not consider. It is a dihybrid test cross. Then the question comes, why the ratio is 40:40:10:10? What could be the reason? So the reason is linkage, right? So this question not just uses the concept of test cross but also use the concept of linkage. In case of linkage, the ratio get disturbed. It is no longer 1:1:1:1 because this consider independent assortment where we say parental is equals to, means parental is 50% and recombinant is also 50%. But in linkage, what you understand, in case of linkage what happened here, the parental is greater than 50%, whereas the recombinant is less than 50%, isn't it? Isn't that justified there? Right? Now in this ratio, the first two ratio is parental and the second two ratio is recombinant. So here you can see it is 50:50. Now on that basis, if we consider the question, then isn't the first two ratio 40:40 and the next two ratio 10:10? So now these two represents the parental and these two represents the recombinant, right? So now on that basis, if this is the ratio, then what is the percentage of parental? So we say parental is 80% and recombinant is 20%. Recombinant is 20%. So now can we again go back and try to solve that question based on this information, right? Now one more thing here, linkage, here the linkage is complete linkage or incomplete linkage. So here because parental and recombinant both are present, so this is a case of incomplete linkage. So this question is the case of incomplete linkage. And always remember, in case of incomplete linkage, the parental is greater than recombinant. So the first two, or you can say the two larger one represents the parent and the two smaller one represents the recombinant. Clear? So here if we say recombinant is how much? Recombinant is 20%, right? So now another concept, because it is asking distance, right? So you remember the concept of map distance, right? 1% crossing over or 1% recombination frequency, right? 1% recombination frequency is equals to 1 map unit, isn't it? So if 1% recombination frequency is 1 map unit, so here what is the recombination frequency? 20%. So 20% recombination is equals to 20 map unit. So here the answer will be 20 map unit. Now this is the whole theory behind it. Now onward, if you get such question, quickly choose these two less ratio, add them, you get 20, and then you will quickly say that 20 map unit, right? So here exactly same way, let's say I give you one more ratio and you quickly try to answer it, right? Let's say if I say that the ratio is 35:15:15. Now what you will say? These two are parental, these two are recombinant. So 15 plus 15, 30. So 30 means 30 map unit. So in that way, if any ratio is given, you can easily tell me the distance between two. So this was a very interesting question from dihybrid test cross, which is showing incomplete linkage. So just go through these questions, and if you like this question, then please share with your friends, and I will keep on sharing such more interesting questions from all the chapters. You can join my WhatsApp channel. The link is there in the description, and also link is there for some other interesting question videos. Best of luck.